Hello again. So to record this video on Google Forms, we are using Screencastify up here. So you can see it is recording. And we are recording the application window. So when we go to open a new tab, it'll show you that as well and not just the current tab that we are on. So Google Forms, if you go to this waffle button,
9 dots.
9 dots. You can find all your Google applications, and we're going to go to Forms. It might be in a different location, so
depending on how often you use it.
Yes, so you'll have to, you might have to look for it a little bit. So when you get there, you'll see at the top here, they do have a template gallery that you can use, like if you want to do a worksheet or an exit ticket, and if you click on the templates, they have a lot to choose from. But for the most part, me personally, I just make a blank quiz. And
that way you can personalize the settings however you would like and
yes,
change it up inside the form.
Which we're going to show in a moment. So the first thing you want to do, because I need to emphasize this with my students, but like you need to title it. So we can title it
Tech Quiz
Session Quiz. And then up here, you'll notice that it says blank quiz. That's when you, it doesn't do it. You're going to want to title it here as well.
If you're working on a brand new open tab, so this is a quiz that Sam already created for us, but if you're working on a brand new one and you type in the title and then go up to the corner, it should say untitled document. And if you click it, it will copy what you just put in the title, so that way it's not listed as untitled document 7,000 times in your Google Drive. You do not want that.
Nope. So after you title it, you can put a little description. I like to put directions, which is usually just read the questions carefully, but whatever you're making your quiz for, you would put the directions there. And then you can start creating the questions. So the first one, you just have to, you just click on it and you can write your questions. So maybe like, what is this session about? And it will oftentimes, it'll guess what kind of response based on the question. So this is assuming you're going to write an extended response answer. But if it's not, if it's just a short answer, so like the answer would be
Google Forms.
Google Forms. You also have the option to make it multiple choice, and you just click on the option and you can say and then you can add an option.
Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Always add the fun ones.
Yeah. And so over here, there's an option for you to add an image, and you can either upload from what you have. You can take a picture. This is cool here. You can search for images and it'll pull up whatever is, and then you just insert it, and then
that will show up when they see the actual form.
Yes. And then over here, you have the options, again, to add images, add video, you can add a section, and then to add another question, you hit the plus button. And so your quiz can be made up of all different types of questions based on what you're asking your kids to do. And then down here, there is an answer key option. So you would choose whichever option is correct, and then you can add answer feedback about the correct or the incorrect answers. And you can assign points as well.
So these can be done as an actual quiz. Like you can assign points and assign correct answers and all of that stuff. Or for example, we send out Google Forms often for staff, for PD and stuff like that. So it can be just a survey where it doesn't actually track points or anything like that. Another thing that is important is the required button. So if it is a form that's just a quick survey that you have to gather some information about, you can make all of the questions required, or you can make them not required. Typically, if I do a Google form with students, I make all of them listed as required because sometimes kids will scroll through and they'll miss questions. And if it's not labeled as required, it won't force them to go back and answer it.
They can submit the quiz without having answer it. And if it is required, if it's a required question, there'll be a little red asterisk. So whether you're taking a quiz or making the quiz, that's an easy way to see whether you've made it a required answer or not. And then once you finish your quiz, so like when you go in to edit it, you can click on responses, and this is where if people have responded, that will show up.
Oh, can you go back to that real quick?
Yes.
Responses. So the cool thing about Google Forms responses is you can actually save all of your responses onto a spreadsheet, and it does everything for you. So for example, I use Google Forms at the beginning of the year with my beginning band, and I have the parents fill in their name, their student's name, their email, their contact information, and what instruments their student is interested in playing. And so what I can do is after all the responses have been turned in, I just hit create spreadsheet and it will save everything and it's already organized and I don't have to do anything for that. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing maybe gathering responses or trying to, quiz students on something, you can gather all of the data from this form and save it on a Google form automatically. A spreadsheet, sorry. Oops.
So you want to go over settings,
sure.
And then I have an example that I made for my students that I can show. So one thing that I sometimes forget to do is to collect email addresses. And so that way like you as the teacher would be able to see what students responded, and then you can actually organize it by their email address. So you could see the specific answers. And then to, protect their privacy, they would be required to sign in through their email. And then you can decide whether they can edit it after they submit it. They can see summary charts and text responses.
And when you do the option to require a sign-in, usually I'll do that if I want to know who is answering the questions. Mm-hmm. So it will also log their email and their name. Mm-hmm. So for example, if you're sending out a survey and you don't care, knowing who submitted which answers, then you don't have to click that. But if you're trying to track, okay, who has this and who has done this, then you definitely want to have them sign in so that it specifies their answers to their name.
Yes, which again, I think I did that in a quiz, so we can have visual examples of that. And then if you wanted to, if it's a quiz, they can respond only once. But if it's something that they're maybe voting on, or you want them to be allowed to respond more than once, you can do that. For presentation, for example, if it's a quiz, you can shuffle the question order, show the progress bar, or give them a link to respond again.
I really like the confirmation message at the end. I like being able to change it. That way, instead of just saying, thanks for your response, it'll say, Miss Gray says you guys are awesome, and thanks for writing down, or thanks for giving me your ideas. This will really help me with my whatever it is I'm doing. So I always like making a personalized confirmation message. That way it's a little more exciting than thank you for your input.
Yeah. And then you have the option, again, to make it a quiz and assign actual point value. If you have Chromebooks in your classroom, you can lock it so that they can't do anything other than take the quiz when they open it. You can give them their grade immediately, or if, for example, you have them doing short answer responses, you can release the grade once the teacher, have gone through it. And then you can allow them to either see their missed or correct answers or point values. And then you can save the responses.
When you go up to the eye, that's preview. And what it'll do is it'll open it up so that you can actually see what anyone who is doing this quiz is seeing. And that's a good way to check and make sure that it has everything that you want. It's in a format that you're happy with, and all of that stuff. So I always like to preview it before I send out the quiz. And then also, if you want to have a little more fun with it, you can customize the theme. You can change the color in the background. You can change it to different things. You can choose a header image if you want, and put something fun at the top. Ooh, those are fun. Everyone likes candy, right? And that will pop up at the top, maybe. I don't know. You can change the font. I always like changing the font because, why not? More fun. So, you can make these as fun as you would like, or you can just stick with the basics, whatever they have.
And then, so maybe if you have more than one class, you can make a copy. They still have the basic tools there. So I'm going to try to get to my Drive, maybe.
I think you got to open a new tab or over there.
Okay. So, okay. So here is a quiz that I made for my students. So I gave directions, and then I, again, did not, I don't think it recorded their email. So I made an actual question for their name. And then you can see their responses. These were students that were able to do it on a computer after they left my class because they took all the computers to assign. So you can see I, again, did not let it, or I didn't, oh my goodness.
Words are hard.
Words are hard. I had it collect their answers right away, but it was short answers. And so it recorded it all as zeros, but I told them, I know more than Google in this case. So these were their questions and their responses, and I could organize it into a spreadsheet if I wanted to. And so here was what the spreadsheet would look like. Here is another example of a Google form that I made. So we were going to do something different with our silent reading time. So this one, as you can see, I did make all these questions required. There's the red asterisk. I had them put their name, and then I gave them options, and I made it so that they could choose more than one answer, I think, for some of them. So these ones, they could pick more than one book that they were interested in, but they had to answer the question. And I did include a picture of each book cover. And then I can go see I'm going to pick a different one where there's more responses. So if I open the quiz, I can again make the spreadsheet.
Good job, 7th grade.
I know, right? Except for that's both my classes. That's okay. It was just a suggestion. So there I have all of their names. I can see who said which one. So I could organize it by class period, since the quiz was assigned to both my 7th grade classes in their Google Classroom accounts. So they were able to offer their own answers or pick the selections that I had given them. So that's all I have. Did you want to?
Can you go back to the tech session quiz?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the preview. And then so one of the things that you want to think about is, what are you going to do with this after you've created it? How are you going to get it to your students? So you can either share the actual form on Google Classroom, if that's something that you're doing, or you can actually click the link on the preview and copy it and paste it to wherever it is. So if you're maybe an elementary teacher who is using Facebook, you can copy the link, you can do it the long way, or in another session that we're going to do, we're going to talk about tiny URLs and how to share links easily. So that is one way that you can share it with students. You also have an option to email it and share it and download it. So, that's probably one thing you want to think about is, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
How you're going to share it with people.
And then you can modify the message. You can include it in an email. Otherwise, they might not see it. It might just be like in their the documents that have been shared with them. And then also up here, as you can see again, it will automatically collect their email if you allow it. Otherwise, you can leave it anonymous. Oh, and look, you can share on
You can automatically
Facebook
share it
and
to
Twitter.
All of those things. Perfect.
Awesome.
Okay, so that is our little tutorial on how to do Google Forms. And as usual, if you have any questions or need any clarifications, feel free to reach out to myself or Sam.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone.